Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me well? I guess so. Well, first of all, welcome everyone. I'll just move my screen here 1 second. Welcome everyone to this Green Week special. Oh, yes, thank you, Diego. Welcome to this Green Week webinar that we call Towards Circular Bioeconomy, in which we will be presenting three different projects. There you can see the agenda. Anyway, we will be introducing each project before the presentation, so you know a little bit more about what they are about. So, as you know, the European Green Deal is aiming to make Europe climate neutral by 2050 through circular production models. So, as I mentioned, this workshop focuses on how three R&D initiatives contribute to this objective and towards circular bioeconomy. The projects that we will be presenting today are BIO-UPTAKE, which focuses on smart bioplastic composites, REDOL, aimed at developing circular products from solid urban waste, and BIOECONOMY Ventures, a dedicated platform for bioeconomy startups. We have today three representatives, one of each project, who will be introducing you to a general overview of these projects. So maybe we can start with Elke de Meyer. She will be introducing BIO-UPTAKE. BIO-UPTAKE project, as I mentioned, contributes to the uptake of bioplastic composites through boosting a twin green and digital transformation in the European manufacturing industry. BIO-UPTAKE is developing flexible manufacturing processes to produce bio-based end products for the construction, medical, and packaging sectors based on the combination of intermediate formats. Today, as I said, we have with us Elke de Meyer, who is a research scientist at Centexbel, who leads the activities related to the optimization and manufacturing of intermediate biocomposite formats. Centexbel will develop bio-based filaments on pilot scale that will be used in self-reinforced composites. So, Elke, the floor is yours. I'm not sure if you can share already your screen. Maybe Pilar, you can stop.
Yes, it's.
Sharing.
I hope you can all
Yep.
see my screen now.
Yes, we can. Thank
Yes.
you, Elke.
Okay. Thank you very much for the introduction. So as Marta told you, I will present the BIO-UPTAKE project. So it's a short for biocomposites and smart plastic transformation processes to pave the way for the large-scale uptake of sustainable bio-based products, which is a really long title. Concrete, what are we? We are a consortium of 13 partners spread over Europe. And within the project, we will aim at the increased use of bio-based plastics and fibers. And we will do that by developing flexible manufacturing processes, which we will show to you in concrete cases by producing 3 demonstrators, one in the construction sector, one in the medical sector, and one in the packaging sector. So I will now just shortly go over the 3 demonstrators that we will produce. So the first one is a sealing for a bathroom pot. And this will mainly be done by the partners Specific Polymers, Silitech, and Potcom. So first they start with the development of cans and bio-epoxy, which they will combine with flax fibers via resin impregnation to make endured organosheets. So these organosheets will be able to store at room temperature instead of the now mainly used prepregs with thermostats, which you need to store in a refrigerator to keep for a longer time. These ones will be able to keep just at room temperature, which makes it way more energy efficient. And these will then be thermoformed to make a sealing for prefabricated bathroom pots. So this is the first one we will make. It's for the construction sector. A second one is for the medical sector, and these are feet insoles, which will mainly be done by Comfil and Centexbel together. And here we start with PLA, which is also a bio-based polymer, and PCL, which we will need for more the elasticity of the of your feet insoles. And via filament extrusion, we will make yarns. which will be combining high melting and low melting phases. So the high melting elements of PLA will form the reinforcements, and then the low melting PLA or the PCL will form a matrix. And this is mainly known as self-reinforced composite materials. And with these filament yarns, we will make UD tapes or organosheets, and then via press consolidation and thermoforming, the feed insoles will be made. And depending on which part of the feed insole, you will need organosheets with reinforcement in two sides, but also UD tapes where the reinforcement is only necessary in one direction. So this is the second one we will make. And then the third one is a lid for a garbage container. And here you can see that the first part we will mention, it's the same part as I just discussed for the feed insole. So again, it will be done by Centex Bell and Gomfill to make those. And this will be combined with the cans I already mentioned in the first demonstrator, together with a biopolyamide combined with wood and biocarbon fibers, which will be done with Aitiip, and then in combination with Moses. They will do over-injection molding, combining all these materials to get a lid for a garbage container. So here you see that our intermediate products, the flexible equipment we have, will make certain that we can use an intermediate product for several applications. So as a sum of bio-uptake, why are we doing this? First, reprocessability. Now, certain materials, once it's made, it's done, and if there's an error, you need to throw it away. But with the materials we will have, since we can keep it at room temperature, we can heat it up, especially the thermoplastic composites. You can just heat it up and give it a new shape if necessary. Second part is the recyclability. So that's why we use the cans. They will make sure, for instance, for the garbage lid we have, that we can separate the self-reinforced PLA again from the reinforced biopolyamide, making sure we have two separate waste streams, which we can easily recycle again and use again for same application or other applications. Third point, as I already mentioned, the prepregs of the thermoset materials will be storable at room temperature, which is really convenient in comparison with the currently used prepregs that you need to store at a lower temperature. A fourth point is a shorter process by having intermediate structures, but also a more limited amount of different raw materials. It will make it all easier and shorter, which is economically, but also ecologically a better option. Then the fifth one, it's something that's already in the title implied. We will increase the amount of bio-based materials that is used in several sectors. And last but not least, something that probably you all already know, by using composite materials instead of metal or other structures, we also have a reduction in weight, which is also way more interesting for certain applications. So this is really short what we will be doing in the bio-uptake. So we only are now in the 6th month of this project, so I cannot really show you results yet, but now you already have an idea what we will be doing in the coming 3.5 years. So if you're really interested in knowing a little bit more about it, please just go to our project website or follow us via LinkedIn or Twitter for more information. So thank you very much. If there are questions, just wait until the end, then we have a Q&A session, and I will be more than happy to answer all your questions then. So that's it from my side.
Thank you, Elke. As Elke just mentioned, that I forgot to tell you before, there will be a question and answer session at the end of the 3 presentations of the project. So, but if you want, you can already start sharing your questions through the chat, or later on you can raise your hand and we'll give you the access to the microphone. But if you want, as I said, you can already start sending your questions through the chat as well. Thank you, Elke. Now we move on to the next project, which is REDOL. REDOL constitutes a regional hub for circularity in solid and urban waste. REDOL is focused on in Zaragoza, the Spanish 4th biggest city, and aims to transform the city into a hub for circularity that implements zero residues strategies while fostering industrial urban symbiosis approaches. Today we have with us Jorge Arroyo, who is a project manager at CIRCE, which not only coordinates the project, but also leads the activities related to the development of REDOL platform and digital tools to optimize circular value chains. So Jorge, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you for the introduction, Marta. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so good morning. As Marta explained, my name is Jorge Arroyo. I work for CIRCE, which is a Spanish technology center located in Zaragoza, which is the center of the REDOL project. And I am going to present you today a brief overview of the project. REDOL is the acronym of Aragon's Regional Hub for Circularity, demonstration of local industrial urban symbiosis initiative. The project was funded, it's an Horizon Europe project funded in a cluster 4 call regarding climate neutral, circular and digitized production from 2022. And it is an innovation action, which means that we are going to carry out some demonstrations or pilots and analyze the market replication. The budget of the project, as you can see, is 17 million euros, from which more than 14 million are funded by the European Union. The project started on December 2022, and it lasts 4 years until November 2026. You can see in the right map the 35 partners which form a strong consortiums formed by large companies, small and medium enterprises, research organizations, public institutions, and non-profit organizations. Even though the project is located mainly focused in the Aragon area, which is the blue region marked in the map of the right of the screen, we have partners and replicators from 12 European countries. So we have a good international representation. What is the problem we are facing up with the REDOL project? So in 2020, we generated 500 kilograms per capita of solid urban waste in the European Union, and we just recycled 45%. This amount is expected to be growing in the coming years. So to deal with this issue, the European Union released the Circular Economy Action Plan in 2020, which fixed some objectives for recycling in 2030. These targets are at 65% for solid urban waste, at 70% for construction and demolition waste, and 75% per packaging. So the solution proposed in the project is the redesign of 5 value chains for the region of Aragon. These value chains are plastics, packaging plastics, construction and demolition waste, textiles, and waste coming from electric and electronic equipment. And the methodology applied includes 5 main points. One is the data gathering, characterization, and alignment between the value chain main actors, creating some technologies for management and processing of urban waste, the development of digital tools to optimize the interactions among the players in this industrial and urban symbiosis ecosystem we are going to create, an overall demonstration of the innovations by the design of these 5 value chains, and carry out an overall impact analysis on social actions and replication strategy for the project. So the objectives we have marked in the project is the develop and demonstration of novel management systems for the valorization of solid urban waste, which can be used to feed another sectors or other value chains, obtain secondary materials for the production of circular products, to contribute to the achievement of a zero solid urban waste landfill approach in Zaragoza, obtaining recycling ratio between 55 and 100%, to establish a roadmap for the implementation of the REDOL measures in other urban environments, analyzing the barriers, technical and non-technical barriers, and to ensure the dissemination and exploitation of the project through a commercialization plan, business models, and key stakeholders engagement. The expected impact of the project is that while in 2020 most of the waste of the city of Zaragoza ends on landfill, in 2020 the idea is to move 140,000 tons per year of waste, from which 94 tons correspond to the REDOL value chain, to recycle or to valorize to produce circular products. This is expected to have an economic impact in the area of 14 million euros and a decrease in the greenhouse emission of 280,000 tons of CO2 per year. Regarding the technologies we are developing, we have measured the impact factors of the application of such technologies in each of the value chains. And in the case of packaging, we will increase the recycling rate from 44 to 70, in plastics from 20 to 55%. In the case of the construction and demolition waste, the idea is to increase from 50% to 80%. Textile, which is not recovered too much now, can move from a 14 to a 100%. And in the case of electronic waste, which most of the equipment can be recycled, the idea is to, with the technology developed in the REDOL project, to decrease among the cost of this recycling. Here below you have the table with the evolution through the years of the landfilling rate and the recycling rate expected for the city of Zaragoza until reaching the target already mentioned of 2040 of 140,000 tons per year. And this is the methodology of the project. This is a picture of all the technologies which are being developed. As you can see, we have through the solid bank waste, from solid bank waste, the idea is to produce circular products, and we have three axes in the project. First, the management, collection, and sorting of the waste. A second pillar is the processing and recycling of the waste stream, and finally the production of such circular products. Regarding the management collection, for packaging, we are developing some sorting system based on cameras and machine learning and deep learning algorithms and robots, together with perspectral images and artificial intelligence and machine learning models. For plastic, we are going to develop some smart urban plastic bins, which will be installed in the city of Zaragoza as demonstration. For construction and demolition waste, we are developing some other artificial intelligence-based sorting system with advanced robotic arms. And for textiles, we will work on a hyperspectral imaging sorting system, and for waste and electronic equipment, an artificial intelligence-based sorting system based on algorithms and robots to separate the components of the PCBs. Regarding the processing and recycling techniques, from the films extracted of the material sorted in the previous step, we are going to apply first for multi-material, multi-layer packaging and selective delamination. We are going to explore some synergies with the Merlin and the Plastic projects, which are the Horizon Europe projects. For composites, the idea is to develop active solvolysis based with the support of microwaves and ultrasounds, with aggregates coming from construction and demolition waste to formulate recycled components which can be used in cement or any other construction parts. And in the textiles, in a first step, we are going to produce textile for recycling without elastane, and this material will be subjected to plate colysis assisted by microwaves and other processes like post-condensation and spinning to obtain polyester yarn. And for waste and electronic equipment, we are going to use the eutectic solvents to valorize the PCB. And in the final line, we have the circular products, which are based on polymers and monomers and glass fibers from other value chains. We are going to obtain packaging, automotive parts of consumer goods from the material recycled from the material sorted, from construction and demolition waste and other value chains. We can use it as raw material for cleaners, cement. In the case of glass fibers extracted from solvolysis and the wood sorted from construction waste, the idea is to produce reinforced good particle board, some other concrete blocks from the new formulated components, geotextiles, flame retardant materials, and composite profiles. Finally, for the waste and electronic and electric waste, the idea is to collect the metals and rare earths to produce other devices or other electronic devices or catalysts. We have also in the project some horizontal activities, which are the development of the platform for the digitalization of the different value chains to enhance the communication between the different stakeholders of the urban industrial symbiosis ecosystem, the creation of a circular community with the stakeholders in the Aragon area, and the dissemination and exploitation of the project, which is very active from the beginning of the project. And finally, we have also 3 other European cities involved: Amsterdam, Netherlands, Borgo in Denmark, and Prato in Italy. In Amsterdam, we would like to learn the best practice on of the project and the establishment of approach, especially in the construction and demolition waste value chain. In both of the replication activities are focused on the support of the increase of the recycling of beverage materials. And in Prato, where we will define usually for urban waste value chains and mapping all possibilities of industrial urban symbiosis in the city. That's all. We are on month 6. We haven't also any result, but we expect to have soon results to present. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jorge, for the presentation of REDOL. If anyone has any questions, as I said before, just please at the end of the session, you can ask Jorge anything you would like to know more about REDOL. Thank you, Jorge. Now moving on into the third project and our last project for today. It's BIOECONOMY Ventures, which aims to become the reference platform for bioeconomy startups and spin-offs, driving their access to finance, providing them contacts and tools to facilitate and foster their success. Today we have with us Pierre Kerahascote. I'm not sure if I said it right.
No worries, Marta. It's a hard one, yeah.
He's the project manager at the Irish Bioeconomy Foundation. The organization which coordinates the project is specialized on the promotion of Irish sustainable bioeconomy globally and being able to create local development. So, Pierre, if you want to share your screen.
Absolutely. Thanks, Marta.
Thank you.
Okay. Actually struggling a bit here. Let me try something.
We cannot see you. I don't know if you turn on your camera, but we cannot see
you can't see me. Okay, no, I did turn
No.
on my camera. Can you see me now?
No.
Okay, but you can hear me correctly, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move on with the presentation.
Okay.
And after for the Q&A, I'll try to fix my camera.
Perfect.
Okay, let's go. Can you see my screen? I can't hear you, Marta.
Yes.
You're muted.
Yes. It was
Okay,
loading, and
great.
now we can see you as well.
Oh,
Sorry.
fantastic. Happy days.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks first to the whole Aitiip team for the invite. It's great to be part of the workshop and take part of this EU Green Week. And oh, this is actually my last slide. Whoops, come back to the first one. And I will present you now for the next 10-15 minutes BIOECONOMY Ventures. As you say, we're all about helping startups gain access to finance in these bio-based sectors. So quick slide on myself and my organization. I am Pierre Carrasquet, project manager at the Irish Bioeconomy Foundation. We are Ireland's national bioeconomy association and innovation cluster, but I'll move on quickly. You can check out our website if you want. Now, BIOECONOMY Ventures in a nutshell. So we are EU-funded project. The funding body is CBEGU, formerly known as BBIGU, which you may know. It's a consortium between, it's a partnership between the European Commission and the Bio-Based Industry Consortium. We started in May 2021, lasting for 2.5 years, ending in October of this year. You can see the logos and name of our partners here on the map. And we're working with 8 partners. Irish Bioeconomy Foundation is the coordinators. And we have 2 Spanish partners, Aitiip and the cluster Food and I. So quick slide on the background. So the identified problem is that 90% or 9 out of 10 startups fail within the first 3 years, which is especially true in the bio-based sectors, which you know is very capital intensive with a very long time to market for startups. The main cause of the failures are inability to raise funding and lack of entrepreneurial skills. So where BIOECONOMY Ventures come in is where the mission is basically to help bio-based startups raise the capital they need to scale up. Or in a more like concrete way, we're trying to increase the number of investment men in those bio-based startups. And I'll show you how we do that. Quick high-level slide on the vision, but if I can put it more concretely, one, we've built the BIOECONOMY Ventures platform, which is an online space for startups and investors to connect. That's number 1 and 2. Number 3, innovation ecosystem. So we've created an ambassador network which is composed mostly of bioeconomy clusters to reach regionally into the startup ecosystem and deliver pitch events. We are doing trainings and acceleration programs, and we are helping the startups to close the deals by doing matchmaking events and really helping them through the deal making process. That's the slide on the work plan. So work package 1 was on identifying the startups and investors, so stakeholders, and also doing a need assessment to identify the services that are most needed for the startups so we can put them on our platform. Work package 2 was on the ambassador network and the pitch event. Work package 3, designing and maintaining the platform and doing the trainings. Work package 4 on the acceleration programs, and the rest for package 5, communication, and work package 6, management and coordination. So let's dive into more concrete stuff. As I said, we are a consortium of 9 partners, and you saw the logos and on the map. But we actually are reaching out to beyond the border of our partners by creating an ambassador network, which is mostly bioeconomy clusters. You can see the logo here. We have 20 of them. And recently 3 more joined. We have 2 in Spain, which is Kilometro Zero, and ESADE Creapolis, which you may know. And the role of those innovation clusters, which we call them ambassadors, is to promote bioeconomy ventures into their network, to support their startups. And also their main task is to deliver 2 pitch events, pitching competitions. So concretely on our goal is to, as I said, is to increase investment made into European bio-based startups. When I say bio-based sectors, I put here 3 boxes to hone in onto the sectors we cover: ag-food, bio-based chemicals, and the rest, so bioenergy, forestry, and waste valorization. Startups that are part of those sectors can benefit from our services. We train them, we connect them with investors, and we help them close investment deals. So in terms of stimulating the original startup ecosystem, we're doing pitching competitions, as I said, which are done by 3 of the partners and the 20 ambassadors. The goal is to do 50. Well, actually, it's 46, but we probably do 50 by October. We have already done 42 of those pitch events. We call them Explore and Expand workshops. On average, we have 8 startups pitching to 3 investors at each of those events. The startup pitch, like it's a typical VC pitch for like 6 minutes, and they go sequentially like this. We've done 42, which means that we have more than 300 startups that had the opportunity to pitch to more than 100 investors. That's how we enable the connections. Then we train the startups. We have done 3 acceleration programs. The first one launched in September of last year was called Future of Food, focusing on ag tech and food tech sectors. And the second one was called Future of Chemicals, focusing on biochemicals. It was launched in February, and the last one launched a few weeks back called Future of Industrial Circularity. The way it's done is we reach out to corporates, we collect innovation challenges, we release an open call for innovators, and then we select the best applicants. We have, throughout the 3 open calls, we've received more than 250 applications from startups, and we've enrolled and accelerated 93 of them. So through the acceleration programs, they receive 3 months of trainings. Those trainings are available on the BIOECONOMY Ventures platform if you have a profile. And we do matchmaking with investors and corporates, and we've made more than 300 innovator/investor meetings. More matchmaking. We're doing brokerage events. Those are in-person events where we invite startups and investors from our community to sit down at a table and engage in the discussion. It's kind of like a speed dating, where the investor has his table and startups come to the investor for a 20-minute chat, and we go on like this. And we have done one in Vienna in March, one in the World Biomarket Conference in The Hague at the beginning of May, and we just finished Thessaloniki in Greece, which was at the end of May. And the next one will be in Brussels, where we are all invited to join us at the Pitch Perfect conference at 25th of September. And here I put a link to the platform. If you get the slides, you can also reach out to us because you can access the events as well from the platform. Speaking of the platform, all the services are available there, and this is really the place for startups and spin-offs to go on, register, and connect with investors. There is a database of startups, database of investors who are part of the community. At the moment, we have more than 400 innovators, part of BIOECONOMY Ventures committee, and more than 100 investors. You can see 140 profiles of startups on the database, and 20 profiles of investors, because it's a 2-step process. First step, you join the community, which takes like 1 minute if you're a startup or an investor. Second step is you create a profile to be visible by your counterparts, and if you're started by investors, which takes a bit more, hence why there is discrepancy between those 2 numbers, but we're working on it. Yes. And then important point is that the project is finishing in October of this year, as I said at the beginning. However, we have plans to continue BIOECONOMY Ventures platform for at least 10 years beyond that date. And the idea is to bring this platform and making a one-stop shop for startups who are looking for investment in the bio-based industry, in bio-based space. At the moment, we are reaching out to other platforms, projects, and service providers to add them to the platform and complement our service offering for the startups, basically. So we know we're mapping platforms and project. For example, we connected to, on the right here, it's a snapshot of the external entities we're partnering with. One of them is called Pilot for You, which is a network of European pilot facilities, and we have 10 more. This is a summary slide I usually present to startups and investors so they can understand really clearly what's in it for them. So startups, we help them get investment ready with trainings. We help them connect and find the right investor, and then we help them close the investment deals. Investors, it's all about providing them with deal flow. You know, we have a pool of startups that we have trained, and now we redirect them to the right investor. So it's all about providing them with deal flow. And now that we are trying to expand the platform into a one-stop shop, we're looking for collaboration opportunities with other platform project and service providers. So I invite you all to visit BIOECONOMY Ventures platform, have a look to it, and see if maybe there is any synergies we can do together. And that's the end of my presentation. You can, I've indicated here my email address, and now I'm also happy to take any questions for the Q&A.
Thank you, Pierre, for your presentation. So with Pierre, we finish the formal presentations of BIO-UPTAKE, REDOL, and BIOECONOMY Ventures. So now all of you who want to ask something about the project to the presenters, please do it either by writing on the chat or just by raising your hand, and we will open your microphone so you can ask your question. Don't be shy, people, and ask some questions. I see a hand raised.
I saw Eva Sanchez
Yeah, I'll
raising a
give
hand.
her. Okay. Now, Eva, I think you can talk now. You are muted, but I think you should be able to unmute.
Yes, thank you, Marta. I have a couple of questions by Elke related to BIOUPTAKE. Does BIOUPTAKE involve any kind of digitalization or sensory for the processes or not?
So we have Iris as a project partner who will do in the first trials offline monitoring, but then they will also do the online monitoring and digitalization of the processes that we are currently developing.
Okay. And my second question is, do you expect similar mechanical properties in the final products, especially in relation to the benchmark, or no?
Well, first of all, if we look, for instance, at the ceiling for the bathroom pots, it will still remain an epoxy. So for that one, we still expect definitely to reach the same properties. Why, for example, for the feet insoles, we will need to change the design compared to the current design to be able to reach the necessary properties. So it will depend on the kind of application we look at, whether we can have the same properties in the same design or whether we should slightly change the design to reach the same properties. But we are currently confident that we will be able to reach the properties necessary for the 3 selected demonstrator cases.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Eva and Elke. I would invite the presenters to maybe turn their cameras on because only Pierre is in screen, but Elke is talking, so it's a bit confusing. I see we have another question from Panayota. They raised their hand. I'll allow the microphone. I think, Panayota, if you want to, yep.
Hi, everybody. Pleasure to meet you all. I stumbled upon your consortium by chance, actually. In our group, we work a lot with computational modeling and simulations of nanocomposites and a lot of kind of computational chemistry approach. And I just landed on your page and saw that you just had this meeting today. I was wondering whether, because I only joined five minutes ago, whether these some of the materials are available for the presentations I missed, and I also wanted to ask whether you incorporate aspects of, say, molecular dynamics simulations in the R&D for the bio-based materials.
Well, I think no one is answering because it's since you joined very like at the end, it's 3 projects that are working on 3 different things. So I'm not sure exactly what your question is about, Panayota, because they are quite different. BIO-UPTAKE is working on some bioplastic composites. REDOL is more about circularity in solid and urban waste, and the Bioeconomy Ventures, it's a platform for bioeconomy startups. So I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah.
In the synthesis of the bioplastic composites, I was wondering what the process is, whether you do some pre-screening with some computational aided design.
So I guess the question is for Elke, it's about BIO-UPTAKE.
Yes, okay. So for this again, it depends on the demonstrators. So for the feed, so we have 3 demonstrators. We have the feed insoles that will be made with PLA and PCL. So therefore, we already deselected the materials. Same for the garbage lid, where we also selected the materials, but then for the bathroom ceiling pot, we are developing, or I should say, the specific polymers are developing a bio-epoxy, and they are indeed using some modeling to first have a look at the structure of their oligomers, and then the effect on the polymers, so the thermoset, mainly on their glass transition temperature for now, but also on other properties. But they do that via modeling, while for the other 2 demonstrator, we use commercial available polymers to do the processing. So for that, we don't do any modeling.
Okay, very, very interesting. Thank you very much. It would be great if some of these materials from the previous presentations could be available online. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Panayota. The recording will be available of the whole webinar, so we will make sure it reaches you and you can see again the presentations from the 3 projects. I think
Perfect,
there's a question. That's all right. There's a question on the chat regarding REDOL. When are the first results of the project expected, Jorge?
So I have explained before that the project started on December of 2022, and now we're establishing the baselines of the project, collecting information about the waste managers, analyzing the barriers, technical and non-technical barriers, establishing a baseline to create the circular hub, and the technical activities are about to start the technical sorting of the materials of the robotics and machine learning and deep learning systems, and the recycling technologies, glycolysis, delamination, etc., starts in August. and this activity lasts 2 years. So in 2 years they should be finished. But we are really active on social networks also, so you will find the results as soon as they are ready. We are thinking on updates constantly the results we are obtaining, because we have a lot of demonstrators, we have a lot of activities. So I encourage you to follow REDOL.
Thank you, Jorge. Anyone else would like to ask something else? In the meantime, maybe when other people feels like asking, I will ask Pierre from the project, from BIOECONOMY Ventures, which one of the actions that the project has done within BIOECONOMY, which one do you think is the most important for helping startups help them get finance?
Yes, thanks for your question, Marta. So you can see there is 2 main ways we connect startups and investors. One is passive, which is through the platform, where if you're a startup, you can create your profile and wait for an investor to come and connect with you. That's passive. And in fairness, we don't really expect that to work a lot. But what's really working is in-person events, say the pitch competition or the brokerage event. That really, when you put an investor in front of a startup and you get them to talk to each other, that is really effective. So yeah, that's what works the best. Pitch competition, and then we have something called brokerage events, which is sort of a speed dating type of thing. You're muted, Marta.
Sorry, I was saying
No
thank
problem.
you.
Cheers.
I don't know if anyone else. I don't see any more questions on the chat. Okay, well, if that's all, I want to thank everyone who joined today to learn a bit more about these 3 brilliant projects, and thank you for the presenters for their time preparing it and for their time today. And as I said, we will make it available online, and we will email you the link once it's on the net. Okay, thank you, and let's keep in touch.
Thanks, Marta.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.